This screencast is going to be about order of operations, which you've definitely seen before. You think of it as the order in which you should do mathematical operations in order to solve a question properly. So there are not 6 steps to the order of operations like many people believe, but in fact, there are 4. Parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, and add, subtract. Those are actually 1, 2, 3, 4, and you do them in that order. And once you're on each step, you do them left to right within each step. So remember, the first one stands for parentheses. The second, if I can spell it right, the second one stands for exponents. Multiply and divide is the next step, and add, subtract is the next step. Now, some examples. So if the order of operations is please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, you've probably heard that before, parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, subtract. First, I have to find any parentheses. There are none in this first problem right here. There are no exponents. However, there is a multiply, divide right here. That is the first step I have to do. So right here, that part's 3. I'm going to copy the rest of my problem down. That's very important. Now, the last step of order of operations, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Remember, those go together. Now that I'm on add, subtract, those are all add, subtract, so do them left to right. This is the first one from left. Copy the rest of it down. 3 plus 5 is 8, so I wrote 8. Copy the 3 down, the minus 3 down. Now 8 minus 3 is 5. Woohoo! Your wonderful fancy schmancy calculators in this class will in fact let you type that whole thing in, including parentheses, and get an answer. Generally speaking, it will be okay to do that. For this, we're going to practice PEMDAS, order of operations, so you're going to show me the steps. If you can't remember what 6 divided by 2 is, please use your calculator to do it. If you can't remember what 3 plus 5 is, please use your calculator to at least double check if you're unsure. I hope you know most of them, but if you don't, please use your calculator. So on this next one, we're going to go over to this example here. Remember, we're going to go start back at the beginning if there are any parentheses. Well, here's a set of parentheses, so that's the first thing I'm going to do. Parentheses, inside the parentheses is 5. And I'm going to copy the rest of my problem down. Now, there are no exponents, so I've done parentheses, exponents. Now I need to do multiply, divide. These parentheses mean to multiply, so really that means 7 times 5. So that's my next thing, multiplying and dividing. 35 plus 10 over 2, and I still have some dividing, and I'm doing it left to right. So I started with this left one, and now I'm going to do the right one. So that's 5, and now I can do 35 plus 5, because now I'm on my add, subtract, and life is good. All right, I want you to try each of these and see if you can get the answers. You're going to answer them on Edpuzzle, and I will check them in as correct or incorrect. On this last one, I want you to know that you evaluate or simplify is what that often means. Simplify as much as you can. So that's what we've been doing with PEMDAS, simplifying, making it, reducing the crazy operations down until we get to an answer, a number. Evaluate is what you do to expressions. Remember the difference between expression and equation is that an expression has no equal sign and an equation does. All right, so substitution happens to be replacing a variable with another value. Okay, that value does not have to necessarily be a number. It could be that that value is another variable, like 2p or something like that. So in this one, it says we're going to evaluate each expression. Where are we evaluating? because they're expressions. There's no equal sign. You solve equations. You evaluate or simplify expressions. All right, and we're going to do Q equals 10. So I have a saying you're going to hear me say a lot. Always practice safe math, substitute in parentheses. So right here I see a Q. So I'm going to put parentheses, and I'm going to change that Q to 10. Minus. Then I see right here I have a P, and my P is supposed to be 7. So I'm going to change it to a 7. And I've got an exponent up there of 2. So please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. PEMDA's order of operations. First thing I need to do, parentheses. Inside my parentheses here, I need to do 10 minus 7. So I can do that. That's 3. I'm going to copy everything else down. And 3 squared means to do 3 times 3. So 3 times 3 is 9. All right. So the next one, that is not a 2.4, that's a number 2. I'm going to substitute in, remember, practice safe math, substitute in parentheses. So where I see that P, I'm going to put parentheses and put a 7. I'm going to copy the next step, that's minus 7. And then I'm minus 7, and then I'm going to substitute in the Q and the P. So I have my big parentheses. I see a letter, a variable, so I'm going to change it into parentheses and put a 10. And then minus, I see another variable, so I'm changing it into parentheses and putting a 7. That's called substituting. Always practice safe math, substitute in parentheses. All right, so now we have to do our order of operations. We need to do parentheses first. Well, there's a parentheses right here, but there's nothing to do in them, so I'm leaving that alone. Now this parentheses has stuff to do in it. So 10 minus 7, like we just said, is 3. And I'm going to copy the rest of my, copy the rest of my problem down. I know your teachers last year underlined them. I don't like doing that because it makes it look like a divide sign to me, so I don't try to do that very often. I'm sorry, that was my phone. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do exponents. There are none, so I don't have to do that. Now I need to multiply and divide. Remember, that's one step together. So I'm going to do left to right. All right, I usually do those at the same time, but I'm going to do first the left one and then the right one. Now I need to do my add subtract. That's just 7. Okay, and that's how you do the order of operations. You're going to do several on your own for homework. There is an answer key. It's a CUDA, so you can check online on CUDAsoftware.com. See the title at the top to tell you where to look. Please check, and if you have questions, please come on Monday with questions.